All right, Greg, man, thanks for sitting down with me today. It's been a couple months since we first got together, and we talked way back in October, October 31st of 2020. And at that point, you were getting ready to graduate from Concordia University with your business management degree. So first of all, congratulations on that. Do like Skip and Shannon, you know how to do it. And I just wanted to just sit you down. First of all, congratulations on entering the insurance field. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just wanted to kind of pick your brain. It's been a couple months so far that you've been in the business, and just want to get just your honest feedback as to, you know, some highs, maybe some lows, and just get a better understanding as to what you feel about the business so far. And then hopefully this content can be used for maybe people that are getting ready to graduate college, getting into a profession, people that are currently in a profession right now, maybe think about transitioning into it. And, you know, because I think this content is going to be really good. So we'll just take maybe, 10, 15 minutes or so, just kind of run through a couple specific questions just to pick your brain. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, Greg. So there are many stepping stones in the insurance profession. The very, very first stepping stone in the business is you passing your Maryland State exam. That's the Maryland Property and Casualty exam. So how did you prepare and then ultimately pass the Maryland Property and Casualty exam on your first try?
What I would say what helped me pass the PNC test is like I just kind of broke it up in chunks. So I made sure I read a chapter a day and then did the questions with the chapters. So like, say I had to go over just like personal liability. I read the personal liability chapter, I highlighted, and then I just did the test and made sure like I got an 80 on all of them because I know like you gotta do above than what's required.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kept doing the practice tests. Like I took about 100 practice tests. I did like a lot. It was like a lot because I don't really like to do tests twice. I'm like, I just want to go in there, pass it, so I can just start working and start understanding like the business. So I just didn't really play any games with it. I just took it seriously, act like it was like a real exam, and I just kind of focused on it. And also I use YouTube as well. Like I looked up YouTube videos on like how other people pass a PNC exam, and then they told me stuff you don't really need to know. Well, you need to know it, but you don't need to know it to pass the exam.
Yeah.
Once you get into the field, it's kind of different, but exams are exams,
right.
And even I called you.
So says the smart kid right now. Exams are exams. All right.
Exams are exams, and then I just asked you questions too on like stuff I wanted to learn or stuff like I thought I kind of knew, and I just want to run it by you, see if that makes sense.
Right.
And that's kind of how I went through that, and then also like talking to my parents or just kind of running off like this.
Oh, like
just like mind dump.
Okay.
What I learned for the day or stuff that I need to talk out. Sometimes when you just read it to yourself, it just doesn't make any sense. When you starts talking it through, stuff starts to become real actual examples in your mind instead of just words.
Right.
So I say that's kind of how I pass the PNC exam. Like practice exams are key.
Yeah.
Like do as many as you can. Don't rush it because practice exams are harder than the real one, if I'm being honest. So.
Right. Great answer. Great answer. Thank you.
Oh.
You've been in the business for a little over 60 days now. What has been your biggest aha moment so far?
So I would say my biggest aha moment is kind of related back into that, kind of to the exam part, because I knew what uninsured motorist was and like what property damage was, but like I didn't really understand like why the coverages went with certain coverages. And then one day I'm like, oh, so if they have $30,000 worth of bodily injury, then the insurance company will only pay that amount for their uninsured motorists.
Mm-hmm.
And then vice versa, 50, 125, you got to basically copy it. You can't have one more than the other because you can't want to pay out more for your own self than what you do for somebody else. So that was like a big aha moment for me. I was like, oh, that's not just words now.
Right.
So now I can just explain to customers. They'll ask me like, what's bodily injury? What's uninsured motorist? I'm like, yeah, this is this, and they're not going to pay out more than what you're willing to pay for somebody else. So
right.
I learned that, and then like I guess kind of like a teacher moment for aha is like don't count nobody else's pockets. Like what's expensive to you might not be expensive to them, especially for like people who are you know, they understand their situation. They know like I have like 5 speeding tickets and
Right.
I just bought myself a Mercedes Benz.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it's gonna be high. You
Right.
know, I'm just trying to figure out who's gonna give me the best
That's good.
version of
That's good.
and I definitely learned that.
That's
like,
good.
Don't count nobody else's pockets.
Can't count
like,
their own change.
Nah, I can't count their own change because I'm like, well, that's high. They're like, oh, that's it. All right, yeah,
Right.
I want to go with it. I'm like,
Right.
okay. Like,
That.
yeah,
I love it.
that's for sure the biggest aha moment.
All right, so writing your first insurance policy is a big deal. I know it was for me when I first got started. I remember it, literally. I remember the customer's name and everything.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. And it's something that you always remember. So what was it like for you to write your very first insurance policy on your own? And it makes a difference on your own. Because I know that we all get help writing our first few policies, but then to really take that first policy that you get from the beginning to the signing period, onboarding that customer. So tell me about that experience.
My very first policy, that was a great day.
Yeah.
So you were out because you were out sailing.
Yeah.
You were out sailing.
Yeah, gotta have a hobby.
That's what
Second
hobby. So it was pretty cool because actually what was weird was, well, I remember his name. His name was Vladimir.
Okay.
So then what was weird is like he was from Long Island. My mother's from Long Island. My family's from there. And then he was on his way to Richmond, Virginia, which is where my dad's from.
Yeah.
He had like a wedding or something like that. And I was like, that's super weird. So it was definitely cool because it was just good that I wrote it by myself because I had no help, like, you know, choosing the coverages. I had to explain to him why this was this. I had to search through all the companies. And then any question he had, I was able to answer in a way for him to understand. And I think writing by myself, I did more growth than like, all right, let me ask Locke about this.
Right.
Let me ask Dan about this. Instead of being like, hold on. If I have a question, I'm gonna just search it up. Cause I kind of already know the gist of everything. I just need to be able to explain it in my own way.
Yeah.
So it was good going from, you know, building rapport with the customer to asking them, you know, what's your insurance history, and then I think he was buying his first insurance by himself because he was always under his parents.
Yeah.
So then that was good, but then even when I had to get more information from him, like prior bodily injury and stuff like that, I got that as well. So it was kind of a smooth like transition because a lot of times your clients, you know, they don't really like you asking for like extra information once they already got the phone, once they already signed all the documents. They're like, what do you need this for? And like, it's just what certain companies want.
Right.
You know, and I explained to them why they would want that. And like, oh, okay, especially when you tell them like, this is how you got your discount, or this is how you got the number that you got. Because you said you had this.
Right.
And that's what I put in.
Right.
So that was definitely good to write that. And then he was around my age. He was only like 26 or something like that. So it was pretty good to write somebody around my age. Understand, you know, his struggles, and because insurance is expensive. Especially like if you were under your parents for at least your first 4 or 5 years, it get expensive. So sometimes people just want to rant and kind of talk to you. You got to be a voice for them. So like that first policy was good, and then getting them to sign it, then I signed it. I clicked the button. I'm like, ooh, I'm in business now. So, but yeah, it was definitely cool.
All right.
Like I felt like I actually started it, you know,
Yeah.
a leap.
Yeah. Well, let's push that conversation. So let's stay where we are. So the phone is one of the most important tools in this business. Yeah, I mean, it is. Bar none, it is probably the most important tool. Some might argue for some different other tools. But tell me a story of a time you had a great conversation with a customer.
I've had a lot of great conversations.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say the one that stuck out the most was definitely it was a lady named Miss Tiffany, Miss White. So Tiffany, she I think she was with Geico or something like that, was like way too high, like $600 or something like that. And putting her with pretty sure National General for like $350. And then we started getting a conversation. She started telling me that she went to college in Georgia, and how like her daughter, you know, she's about to go to college. I'm like, oh, what college does your daughter go to? She's like, oh, she's about to go to Cornell. She's like, ask me how much I'm about to pay for it. I'm like, I'll say $1,000. Because if somebody asks you how much you about to pay for it, they're probably not paying that much.
Right.
Like, no way she's going for free.
Yeah.
And she's like, now my daughter's going for free. I was like, what? Like Cornell's like 70, 80 grand a year. You know, like that's an Ivy League school. So like, that made my day. Like, I know me going to school, trying to not really finesse the system, but get as much money for college as possible. Like that's going to Ivy League school straight out is like, that's an accomplishment in itself.
Heck yeah.
like I'm happy for. And then my daddy, I'm like, yo, anybody going to school for free, especially that caliber, like, you know your thing.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. And you wrote the policy.
Wrote the policy, man.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure she's gonna come to me for her daughter's policy because I think she said that she's getting her a car soon.
Right.
And then I think she wanted to play with the numbers to see how it would look on hers. But I think it went to like $700. She's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great conversation. I actually enjoyed, talking to her and really getting to know her. It was almost like we're in front of each other.
Right.
That's just kind of how the vibe. You got to give off the phone. You got to be relatable because you got to put people's debit card information, credit card information. So like,
social security
sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to be able to drop the customer's shoulders.
Right.
Ask them, ask them how their day going. Some might still not give you information, but you might find that hot spot.
Right.
And just start talking.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you like power? Oh yeah, James St. Patrick. That's cool. You just kind of gotta find what they like to talk about.
Yeah.
Just kind of go from there, and then you'll forget you even doing insurance.
Right.
Ooh,
hashtag right there.
They'll forget. I'm telling you, they'll forget. They're like, hold on. How much was it? It was such and such. Oh, I paid.
Yeah. But great job. All right, so just wrapping up here now. Speaking of tools, tools are like, the way I look at this business is toolbox. You got a big old toolbox. When you're just getting started, you got like the Fisher Price toolbox. And as you get a little bit older, you go to Heckinger's, or nowadays it's Lowe's or Home Depot. So it's tools in this business. Marketing is another really, really important tool in this industry. So tell me about the work that you're doing with auto dealerships.
The auto dealerships, the industry that you said you would never get back into.
No. No, it's going to me.
Oh, man. But marketing has been like a roller coaster for real. It's really been like really just a progression, because it was like at first you kind of told me what they would want, how it would be. And it was exactly how you said it would be, They kind of want you on hand, on demand, and then you could probably get like 2 chances. But it was kind of a good progression, because it was like, it wasn't kind of handed to us. It was like, you could see the relationship build over time. Because I think the first month in the business, we was hitting at least 2 dealerships a week. 2 dealerships a week. Maybe even 3 dealerships a week. People giving us different rebuttals, like, oh, we only do $15. Well, such and such does 50. And then just learn how to overcome those like objections, because even though they're not customers, they're still objections. There's still people you want business from, and you have to figure out a way for it to be beneficial for both sides. Because you don't want to do business with somebody you giving them everything, you're not getting nothing in return. So I definitely had to learn that. I never thought about it like that in business. Like, you got to give them something to, like, I don't know, make them get up,
Yeah.
And then, but kind of what I really learned from you is like, you don't really sell them either, though. They kind of just like you as like a person,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the biggest thing, just relationships and just understanding, like, they're people too, even though they're a business, you know. But it's been good though, So we went from they wouldn't send us any business to like now we setting up in the dealerships.
Yeah. Tell me about that. So what is that? What do you mean setting up in the dealership? So I know what it means, but tell those.
So now setting up in a dealership is I can bring my computer, my laptop, my mouse, and just literally set up in the dealership while they have all their customers there that don't have insurance, and then they'll come to me directly for their insurance policies instead of them calling somebody else or just just doing anything. Whoever they're getting a car from can send them anywhere. They have all control, because once you buy a car from somebody, you kind of trust them in a way, because buying a car is more expensive than buying an insurance policy at the time. So that's really big for us, because like at first, if the progression was, all right, 2 dealerships a week, we're not getting any traction, okay, let's kind of drip on them. Let's give them some pizza, see how they like that. So I feel like the pizza is where it started everything, because once we started the pizza, that's when like that next week deals. Then they seen like, all right, I gave him 1, he handled it swiftly. Give him another one, handled it swiftly. So we went from no dealerships to, we have 3 now. We have Honda, Patriot, and JD Byrider. Which are all good relationships.
4 really, because the new one, so 4.
Oh yeah, the new Honda dealership. So we're definitely like going in the right direction with progression with our relationships, and then. It went from the pizza, like, okay, let's have a happy hour. Let's invite them to things. Because I feel like even though some people from the district didn't come, they just felt like it felt good to be invited to something. Because, you know, with the pandemic, people don't really get invited to a lot of things. And just in general, I think once you hit like adult life, you know, you got kids and stuff like that, you don't really get invited to much stuff. So they might not come, but like just because you thought about them, it's like, okay, they're not just here just for my business, just to make a profit, you know. They actually care about me as a person, want to get to know you. And I feel like that's where we kind of strive at as a agency. Like we just act like people. We're not really salesmen, I feel like. It's more, we're not really salesmen.
Love it. All right, so guys, this has been phenomenal experience. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have. So this is Lafayette Goins, Baltimore Insurance Network with
Greg Alexander, Baltimore Insurance Network.
And I hope this content was great for you guys because somebody is getting into the business now. I'm getting ready to graduate school. Somebody is thinking about the field. This might be ammunition to stay in the business. This might be something that you guys can use to, right here. This might be something you guys can use just to kind of get you to the next level. And, you know, these dealerships have been really big for us. So these business partnerships have helped us to grow. It's made our job a lot easier, a lot more fun. These happy hours that we're doing, we're going to the Ravens game next month. We're going to be driving up to New York this month. So just different stuff like that to keep the business flowing. So I'm super proud of this guy right here. And I tell him that all the time. He just came into the business and just picked it up. This business is not for everyone, but this business is for Greg here. So so glad that he's on the team. So happy that Adil is on the team, Dan is on the team, Rob, Gerald, Peggy, Cheryl. Tell me who I'm missing. Gerald, if I didn't say Gerald. I mean, just the whole team. You know, Tommy. We just brought a new guy on, Marcus. Is it Maurice?
I think it's Marcus.
Marcus, sir, I haven't met you yet, but only heard you by name so far. So we're just in the process of growing and growing strong, you know, growing by, you know, one client at a time, one team member at a time, and just providing maximum effort to provide maximum output. So insurance is a financial solution to a financial situation that hasn't happened yet, and that's what we live and breathe. So thanks for tuning in. And our next show, we're gonna have on Stacy from Jet Mortgage. I'm calling you out, Stacy. I know that YouTubing and things like that have not been a part of your repertoire, but I think you'll do great. And I'm looking forward to having you. And also Raquel, we want to get you on the station too. So thanks a lot. Have a great day. And see you on the next episode.